I'm learning that the hardest thing about being single is needing two incomes to survive in this economy. Living off one income is impossible. And so with that said, if anybody with two jobs is looking for a partner, let me know.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a video for you here today from Manhood titled Women Are Complaining That Being Single is Wildly Expensive. I always find it funny, guys, how modern day women will always complain if they are treated in any way similar to a man. You know, men go out here, we pay our bills. Oftentimes, dudes are in relationships, they're paying bills for women, they're paying bills for their wives, and so on. But again, guys, the moment a woman has to pay a bill for anything, oh my goodness, it is the end of the world. Let's jump into it.
Don't get me wrong, I love being single and I love living alone. It's great, it's fantastic, but fuck, it's expensive. I just spent $600 on brakes on my car, just on the front part of the car, because I couldn't afford all four brakes and axles and rotors and whatever the fuck. And then now I just paid my car payment, which is $500, so I just blew $1,100 in like 3 hours, and it wasn't even like fun, you know?
These women prioritize fun and experiences over the basic requirements of being an adult, and then they melt down the second they realize that their money isn't for good times, it's for stuff that needs to actually get done.
Fuck! Sorry, it's just so overwhelming, like, you work and 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 you work, and it's just to pay off like your basic necessities.
Well, madam, on behalf of every single grown adult, allow me to welcome you to the world of being an adult.
I think there are a lot of people out there who think that being a single person is really easy financially because they're like, oh, well, you only have to pay for yourself. And like, wrong. Yeah, I do only have to pay for myself, which means I have to pay for my rent entirely by myself. I don't split it with a partner. My council tax bill, even though there's only one person, is only discounted by 25%. So if you're splitting your bill down the middle with a partner, I'm still paying more than you individually.
One really does have to wonder what these women were expecting when they demanded the single and independent lifestyle. They honestly thought that they would have endless money for fun and games, despite the fact that none of these people can or will bother to work. It's insane.
My energy bills, yeah, okay, I pay less than you, but I'm not paying half because most of that cost is a standing charge. If I want to go on holiday, I have to pay for the room or the cabin entirely by myself. If I want to get a mortgage, I have to have a bigger deposit, and I can't get approved to borrow as much because I only have one income. Like, financially is really, really difficult to be a single person, and I think more people need to remember that when they're talking to their single friends.
How is it that these women never learned that part of being an adult is paying bills, taxes, and other requirements? This is the stuff that most people know by the time they're honestly very young.
Do y'all ever think about how much harder it is to function in society as a single person than as a person part of a couple? Right? Like, a single person and a couple both only need a one-bedroom apartment. But when you're splitting it between two people, it's way more affordable. The single person is paying twice as much as either of the individuals in the couple.
In today's world, when they talk about splitting rent with a roommate or a significant other, they're really talking about how the man is going to pay for the whole thing, and she'll pay for half of dinner once every 4 years.
And then the same thing goes for shit like internet, cable. It's not like the couple is getting more or less. It's the same amount. It's just you have someone helping you pay for it. And then you take into consideration the fact that married people get special tax breaks that none of the rest of us get. And then you especially take into consideration the fact that minimum wage used to be able to support an entire family of 4, and now it can't support a single person.
It's tough to say what's worse, the fact that it's difficult for one person to survive on minimum wage, or the fact that the last people to learn this are modern women who insisted on being single and independent.
I often do videos talking about the fact that I'm 39, single and happy, but today I wanted to tell you about the worst thing about being single. Gotta keep it real. It's not always easy. So yeah, the worst thing about being single is dun, dun, dun. Finances. I have to pay for everything myself. There is no one to share a single bill with. But I'm being serious. Mortgage or rent, bills, food, everything. I get to share costs with nobody.
This woman could be saving quite a bit of money if she stopped getting her nails done and stopped getting tattoos all the time, but her fun will always take priority over a practical lifestyle that's actually within her means.
Why isn't anybody talking about the single tax? It is significantly more expensive to be single, to the point that it's like economically irresponsible to cook when you're single. It costs $75 to make a meal, not to mention the cost of running the dishwasher, washing up all of the pots and pans. And then what am I gonna do? Eat lasagna for 6 days? When I could use Uber Eats and one of their various codes each week to get a salad for $9.
It's interesting how she complains that cooking her dinner costs her $75, but of course she doesn't mention what she's actually eating. Classic.
Imagine paying half your rent because you share your apartment with somebody, half your electricity bills, half your cable, Hulu, Amazon, Netflix subscriptions. When you're going to the airport on a trip, you don't have to pay $70 for an Uber by yourself because you're splitting it with somebody. Forget saving money on a Costco membership. When am I ever going to use 36 apples? It's honestly the only argument I have for getting in a relationship. It is expensive to stay single. Just imagine if there were no more single people. The food and beverage industry would just like collapse.
She listed off a lot of things that she doesn't need. She doesn't need all of those subscription services. She doesn't need to take expensive vacations. She just wants to leech off of a man so that she can watch her true crime stories on someone else's dime.
It is so expensive to be single and to pay for all of these expenses by yourself. For context, I do live in the Bay Area, so it is hella expensive to live here, but this is essentially how much I pay in a month by myself. Close to $4,000 if I'm lucky. And again, it's not that I can't pay for these things, because obviously I'm out here living and thriving and a little hungry, but it's fine.
How can she claim to be living and thriving in the same sentence where she's complaining about how expensive it is to be single in San Francisco? Only in the mind of a modern woman is that even possible.
However, it's usually the things that I don't account for on the monthly that like internally kills me. Like, for example, emergencies. Y'all, it's not only like costly, but the emotional expense to doing it by yourself is like...
Women like this love to complain about how taxing their emotions are, whether it's emotional expenses or the mental load or, I mean, whatever other words we make up. These women love to complain about how hard they have it because they refuse to actually control their own emotions.
Teaching kids about misogyny and incel culture is one thing. You know what I think they need to start teaching in schools? That, yes, you can have a partner and whatever, but if you ever choose to be alone, if you ever want to respect yourself and not just settle for bare minimum, if you want to release yourself from a toxic relationship, it will be very, very liberating, but very, very expensive.
Schools used to teach useful information, but now it's just feminist garbage and apparently a platform for modern women to complain about how they can't afford to have a life without a man to pay for everything.
I have lived through the most liberating, amazing, culturing, wonderful experience the past, goodness me, what, 5 years? God. And that's not 5 years single. I've not been 5 years single, but 5 years not living with a man. And it's been amazing, but it's been so expensive.
The only way these women can feel liberated while also complaining about their expenses is if they're maxing out their credit cards. It's hard to be liberated if you're just working to survive after all.
Got another complaint about late stage capitalism, specifically about being a single woman, which I do recognize that we can't romanticize the past here all the time, because women couldn't even own their own credit card until like what, the 70s. The fight for independence and autonomy and respect as a single woman in particular. What she's talking about has nothing to do with capitalism and everything to do with her being broke.
She doesn't want to work anymore, so she blames men and the government. And let me just say this, guys, I'm not a fan of the government either, but again, this is very stunning and brave of her.
So it's such a fucking uphill battle, and one of those things is the fact that those hidden costs, I guess I could say, is that I have never had a wedding shower. Any sort of shower, every single thing I've had to buy myself, and everything breaks.
So apparently not only is the patriarchy responsible for her being terrible with her money, it's also the reason why she never got a wedding shower, not to mention shoddy craftsmanship of cheap products. The patriarchy really does seem to get around, doesn't it?
I feel like nobody's talking about this, so I am going to. Why is it that being single is actually so expensive? I have signed up for every hobby you could think of. I have gone on yoga retreats, I have signed up for surfing, I have signed up for pottery, hot yoga, hot Pilates, sitting at coffee shops. I physically have been trying to pour into my cup and fill up my free time, but I didn't know how expensive that this was going to be. And I physically and financially can just not anymore. I don't know what else to do. I can't believe that this is what life has come to.
Her solution is simple. Stop doing trendy things that she will give up within a month, get a budget going, and quit complaining about how expensive everything is, even though to a degree it is. But anyway, guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new here. Drop a comment, and I will see you all in the next one. Make sure you take care of yourselves, guys. Peace.